So I'm in the Caddy, and those of you that regularly watch know that I put the Forte Cleaner in it a couple of days ago. So I put the Forte Turbo Cleaner and the injector cleaner in at one go on about less than a quarter of a tank. So it was a nice strong mix to try and resolve the van going into limp mode, which we thought was the turbo, at least I thought was the turbo vane sticking, because it normally only happened when it was on a hill and you hadn't quite got a lower gear early enough and it was labouring a little bit. Then it'd go into limp mode, pull over, turn the car off, back on again, it was fine. So we thought that the Forte might work. I'd had it recommended by a number of people. So I put it in stronger than they said, and I've run it around for the last couple of days, and I haven't had an instance of the limp mode kicking in. So what I've been doing is driving it hard. So I have been keeping it in low gears and keeping the revs up so the engine's nice and hot to really work the stuff through. I haven't let it labour at all in any gears. So like I say, we're going to test today and see whether it's, whether it has really made a difference or not. You could say 2 days no instance, it's fixed it. But what I need to do is do some tests, so it gets the bottoms of hills that it normally did it on, and stay in a higher gear and not drop down, and see whether it ends up doing the same thing or not. Apologies for squinting, the sun's coming through. So we'll put it through 2 tests now and see has Forte fixed it, because if it has, I don't think it was particularly cheap. I think it was about 46 quid all in for the 2 bottles. I think something like that. Well, I did buy 2 lots, so I can't remember if it's half that or not. But if it has worked, we'll try it out on the red Alfa Romeo Giulietta that we're having similar problems with. So let's put some tests out there and see what happens. I guess my thing with this additive is, what I struggle to understand, and again, you guys know I'm not a mechanic and I only have any very basic knowledge, is how something that's passing through the combustion chamber and out through the exhaust system can be powerful enough to unstick a turbo's vanes. What additive is it that is able to pass through the combustion cycle and get into the turbo and do any good? Or is it just that it makes the engine run a lot hotter? So could you basically have the same effect by just running loads of super unleaded diesel through it, but with any form of additive? Because I also find it hard to believe that the injector additive, the DPF additive, the turbo additive all have different stuff in them. Again, because they've all got to pass through the injector stuff doesn't, but the DPF cleaner and the turbo cleaner both have to pass through the combustion chamber. So I find it hard to believe that I wouldn't have the same effect by sticking any old DPF cleaner through it as well. But again, I don't know the science behind it. I'm not a mechanic. That's just my basic understanding, that it's got to be burnt off in the combustion cycle to exit the exhaust system into the turbo. Just for the benefit of the science of it all, I have actually run that tank completely out, by the way, that quarter of a tank with the Forte cleaner and the injector cleaner in it. I have now put a fresh tank of diesel in. I haven't put super diesel in. I would normally put super diesel in, but I put normal diesel in just to set a benchmark against how it was running with the Forte cleaner in it. Now I can say straight away, it does feel like with the Forte cleaner in it, it had more power in it, but then again, like I say, I was running it super rich, so it was like super unleaded, I would imagine. So I think that would make quite a big difference. It did feel a bit pokier with that in there. But obviously the purpose of that wasn't to improve the performance, it was to stop the turbo from sticking, so we still need to put that to the test. But yeah, I thought I'd clarify, that has all cleared out now, and I've got a completely fresh tank, brimmed of normal diesel. On a complete side subject, by the way, guys, you'll notice I'm just wearing a cheapy jumper, got a pair of combats on, got my work boots on, because I'm going into work and I'll be working on the cars. How do these guys on these channels wear like this designer gear and white trainers and do all the work they say they do on the cars and come out of it looking immaculate? Do they do like a full change with the same clothing at the end, and they're wrecking like hundreds of pounds worth of clothes every time they do a job. I know, completely side point, but I don't quite understand how that happens, because by the end of the day, this will be destroyed, be rolling around the floor, doing stuff on the cars, cleaning them, faffing around with oil. So I don't know how they all end up so immaculate in these videos. Just went down a dip, I've left it in 5th gear, there's no one behind me so I'm not disturbing anyone, and I'm letting it labour up this hill. Down into 4th, letting it labour, up into 3rd. Seems the turbo's kicking back in again. The problem was the turbo wasn't kicking in, and that's when it went into the limp mode. So let's just double check again. Now we've got the revs up. Check the turbo's kicking in. Yeah, turbo's still kicking in. So on that occasion, letting it labour, it didn't go into limp mode. We'll try a couple more times. So again, I'm letting myself labour up a hill a bit in 4th here. It's quite a long, gradual hill, and we're right down to sort of 30 miles an hour. Again, no one behind me, so I'm not disturbing anyone. And we're letting the car labour. This is when it was sticky normally. Obviously, the revs drop. I guess the turbo slows down its spinning. And then if there is gum in there, it gets gummed up. That's what I'm assuming is happening. And like I say, a few people have said it could be the mass airflow sensor. So I've really let it labour there. We're just coming on the flat of that hill again now. And it seems to be picking up all right. You can normally tell when it's gone to limp mode. You kind of feel it through the pedals slightly. There's a little sort of dip, and then it's flat as a pancake. No, we're not in limp mode. We're going into 30 now anyway. We're not in limp mode, the turbo's still there. So, a couple of tests now. It seems to have passed them. Like I said, when I had the additive in, I was keeping the revs up all the time, so I wasn't actually in a situation where even before it would have bogged down, because before it was only bogging down, like I say, when the revs dropped really low. So I was keeping the revs up high, screaming it along then, so it was never going to really happen even with the additive in, because I was driving it in such a way where it shouldn't happen. So this is the real test. Right, we've got another really long, slow hill because it's in a 30 zone here, and I'm just going to leave it in 4th. Again, let it labour. Again, no one behind me, guys, before someone starts saying that I'm upsetting other traffic. But I'm letting it labour almost to the point of stalling. She's still going, bless her. Change down. No, there's the turbo. So we didn't go into limp mode then either. I'm doing everything I can to aggravate it into doing it. These are some of the hills it's done it on before. I don't know, is it too early to call it fixed? Just got to carry on driving, I guess. It may well be I have to report this back over a couple of days rather than one journey, but it was doing it every journey on a couple of the hills. We were in limp mode, so it didn't work. So I think next thing is, well, either we missed a muscle the turbo, or we change out the mass airflow sensor, which a lot of you said is likely to be the culprit. So perhaps we do that next. I think probably mass airflow sensor is the next thing. Let's see if that makes a difference. So is it a fail for Forte? I don't know. If it is designed to unstick the vanes on a sticky turbo, if that's what I've got, I might well not even have that. Might be something else completely different. Did it clean up the engine and improve the performance? I can't really say. It's the only time I really ragged on it was when I was trying to get the cleaner through the car and see if it would improve the limp mode problem. So I can't really say whether it improved the performance or not. So I'm on the fence about Forte, I'm going to say, until I know what the fault of this car ended up being. So that's it for this vid, guys. Doesn't seem we've solved the problem for the moment, so we'll order the mass airflow sensor and see if we can prove a load of you right. I'm not sure I'm going to be chucking the additional set of Forte into the other Alpha for the moment. I'm not sure that's going to be making a difference. Again, I'm not sure whether this is a sticking turbo vanes or whether it's something else completely different, although we have already changed everything else out on this. So we've done the mass airflow sensor on this one already. So again, I can't say for sure. If I had to give an opinion right now, I'd say that Forte probably does a good job of cleaning the engine out and probably makes the engine perform better with the richer mixture. Will it unstick a stuck turbo? Again, we're on the fence until we put the mass airflow sensor in it and we test that out. If that fixes it, we know it never had a sticky turbo in the first place. If that doesn't fix it and then we missed a muscle the turbo and that works, then we know that the Forte wasn't strong enough to clean out the sticking turbo vanes. But I said that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Please consider hitting that subscribe button down the bottom if you're not subscribed, and I'll have some more content up soon.